All
Hello,
right.
Dr. Vibhuti Agarwal. How are you?
Yeah, hi Shamila. Nice to meet you again. I'm doing good.
Same here, same here. And thank you so much for taking your time for this podcast, which is She Leads, She Inspires. It's Core Factor Specials Women's Day series, actually. Thank you so much, Vibhuti, for your time today.
Thank you so much for considering me for this podcast. I'm happy that you chose me for this and you thought that maybe I can add some value to the listeners and maybe something I can tell them about my own journey, which maybe they can relate to and go on with their own paths.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Vibhuti. So today's podcast with you is going to provide me and the audience an unique opportunity to explore your journey from biotechnology to venture capital. So your insights on startup ecosystem and your perspective on the women's role in these sectors. Okay. So now getting into it, we will start with a quick rapid fire round. Okay. So it's going to be very general. And also fun actually. So I think we can start. Is that fine?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. What's your go-to comfort food after a long working day?
Yeah, something which is easy to make and easy to eat also, like ramen, dal chawal, pasta, anything, you can eat with a spoon and a fork and a bowl. I think look.
Okay, okay. That's great. And if you could instantly master any musical instrument, which instrument you would choose?
Yeah, I think guitar because it looks ultra glamorous and ultra cool to play guitar. There are so many movie songs with playing guitar, even heroines playing guitar, and it looks very, very cool to me. So maybe guitar is a wire instrument which I would love to learn.
So you know any? You have an interest in music, by the way.
I have an interest in music, so when I was young, I used to play harmonium. In fact,
Okay,
yeah, I got my grandmother's harmonium, and so that time the concept of teaching and coaching was not very much there. So I started learning by myself, and I could, I used to spend a lot of time in my class 8 and 9, and then slowly, I was taking out the movie songs tunes. I was playing bhajans, I was playing national anthem. Then I played in my school chorus also. So I think that git and harmonium and piano I can still play, but guitar, this wire instrument things, I think I'll have a challenge. So that's why if I can learn guitar overnight, that would be very nice.
great. Then it's great to know that you have a lot of interest in music because of grandmother. So maybe when we are catching up sometime later after this, like surely, like let's see, and you have to show me like how you play and all those things. Like let's talk about it more, right? So yeah. So getting into next one, like if you wanted to have a dinner with any scientist because you have done a doctorate, right? So which one you would want to have? With
So
whom you
I
want?
am deeply interested in knowing about our Indian ancient scientists like Aryabhat, Varamir, Chakra, Sushruta. So these are our forgotten scientists, and it's very interesting to know that India has deep knowledge of science. I mean, we knew that the Earth is round, Sun is round long before Europeans gave us this concept. So somehow during this journey we were invaded and then we lost our ancient, or it was somehow submerged and we never got the credit. Our Indian scientists never got the credit for their original discovery, and still we credit scientists from the Western world for these small discoveries which we were always aware of. So I would definitely like to go on a dinner date with our ancient scientists. Yeah, if I don't know whether they used to, because these people used to be very strict, so I don't know whether they used to eat anything in dinner or no, because
They are always busy, right?
not busy, but they were very, see, their lifestyle was based on Ayurveda and yoga. And yoga tells us not to have, or to have a very light dinner.
Dinner, yeah,
Like
that's
to
true.
eat anything in dinner, then I can, otherwise,
Yeah. So
it's fine.
I wish you should have dinner with some of the scientists soon. Like, let's see. And
Yes.
so, how do you relax after a long working week?
Yeah, but yeah, I relax by not doing any work, anything to do with work, because sometimes it becomes so overwhelming that, we think that, okay, it's just a 2 minutes call, let's take it. It's just a 5 minutes job, let's do it. But we forget that it's very, very important to totally unwind, because then only you will be fresh on a Monday like today to work for the entire week. So unwinding is very, very important. And for that, we have to do something which is not related to work at all. Like at home, I get to do some cooking, make something interesting, spending. I'm lucky to have children who are staying with me right now. So
Okay.
spending time with me, with them also gives me a lot of relaxation, and that's how I unwind.
Thank you on that, Vibhuti. So that's obviously that's a good point, because if you wanted to really start a fresh week, right, you need to have some proper rest before that, because we are working Monday to Friday or Saturday also. It's very hectic starting from the beginning of the day till we end the day actually.
Our
Um,
brain needs refractory period. It wants to
yes,
rebound. So for
yes.
that, it has to completely go off the this thinking process. Otherwise, we become very stagnation. Our thoughts become stagnated, and we just keep thinking about one thing. So we have to just keep changing the perspective. That's very important.
Yeah, because if you're not taking a proper rest, I think we can't work productively also. So that's one of the very important things, right, in the entrepreneur journey, or maybe whatever it is. It can be any kind of a career. You, if you want it to be productive, then I believe you need a proper sleep and proper rest. I
Not
think
only
that's
rest and sleep, but the diversion also.
diversion. Okay.
So if we are just thinking in one direction, sometimes even this happens to everybody, even creatives, writers, even scientists. So if you're just thinking deep, deep, deep about one thing, though it helps to an extent, but you need to sometimes you need to just change the track completely. Because when you change and when your mind is futile, it is most fertile.
Yeah.
So any
True.
land, if you just leave it, just leave it unattended. It will, with time, it will become automatically, it will become very fertile. So that is how that is the key of having a fertile mind. Nowadays, we are always obsessed with technology, always exposing ourselves to different kinds of stimulation. So sometimes we have to just leave our mind blank and don't expose it to anything.
Getting it actually. Yeah, obviously, yes, that's really true. So I mean, like, I was more excited to know about your transition from biotechnology to venture capital. Actually, could you please share the pivotal moments that led you from a PhD in I think it's human molecular genetics to a leadership role in venture capital? Vibhuti, can you please take me to that?
Yeah, so it has been a journey, it's a roller coaster journey since I submitted my PhD in 2005. So that time, so during my PhD, I got married. I had two children, two daughters. So it all happened during PhD. And somehow I submitted because my guide was very cooperative. And luckily, I had done most of my bench work before I was married. So
Okay.
after my marriage, I had to just compile and submit the thesis. And also, I was fortunate enough to get four international publications, and I had a cooperative team. So I submitted, but when I submitted, I was still carrying my younger one. I
Okay.
was, and then when she was born, she was like, I had two daughters who were aged 0 and 2 years respectively. So with
Okay.
that condition, it was very difficult to find a job in a lab as a research associate. So I tried because I wanted to really pursue science and go up to Nobel Prize. Maybe one day I
Okay.
wanted to win Nobel Prize for India. So I thought, okay, I'll start my research. But somehow it was not happening because that day, obviously people are reluctant to take a woman with two small children, two very, very young children, because they know that she will not be able to do justice to a full-time research lab. And it's such, there are no timings. We have to work day and night. So I found it difficult. So I joined a course in IPR, thinking that I will take up a career in a law firm in an international intellectual property rights field. But then working in a law firm also, I realized that it was not my cup of tea, and I was not able to balance my family life with my career. Then I joined as a lectureship in a private university, and there I had to leave my children at a daycare and go to my work and come back. So I would say, Shamila, the trigger point was when I left my children in daycare, and in the evening when I used to come, sometimes I used to find my children being hurt. Like sometimes, by accident, they will just one time. Once my daughter has a minor fracture in her finger, she fell down from a chair, and I was really furious that they didn't inform me in time. So I took her to the hospital immediately. So that time, I started thinking that maybe it's not possible to do a full-time job with small children. So I started thinking on those lines that I should have more flexibility in the work. Whereas research and teaching career, it was difficult to find such a balance. So then I joined my husband in his entrepreneurship journey. He's a chartered accountant, and he had his own firm and company. So I thought that maybe I can support him
Hmm.
and learn all the on the way. So it was a completely new field for me, being from a research background. I had to unlearn more than I had to learn. Like
Yeah, that's true. It's
I
completely different vertical altogether. It's a different
Yes, yes.
domain.
All over my life, I had never studied business, accounts, economics. So, and I studied only science, science, and science.
Yeah.
So I had to unlearn, and then so I was doing a beginner's job, like I was running then whatever is required to run. So it was that time the startup word was not used, but it was a small company where being I was the director of the company though, but I was doing everything from hiring to HR to issuing appointment letters and salary, payroll, everything, banking. So and we were, it was a business consultancy company, and then, but it gave me flexibility to work from home, being my own venture and with my husband's support. So I could at least continue because for me it was maddening to sit at home. I was maybe not that kind of frame of mind as to be with
Yeah.
home with
So
children all the
actually,
time.
like when you said like you done a PhD and you were taking care of two your daughters. Actually, I think that looks like a career break, right? So you did a PhD, and by the way, you were on the family way also taking care of two children, and unfortunately that time there is no option of working from home, right? Somehow you have to manage, and it's like must, and especially in biotechnology, I don't think so there is working from home
It's all
option.
lab work
Lab
actually.
work,
You have to
yeah.
do, it's a bench work. So means you have to set up experiment.
Yes.
You have to do incubation of your cell lines, cell culture, whatever. You means you have to be there all the time. You can outsource it to your juniors, but you don't know who will mess up where.
Yes, obviously, yeah. That's not a choice at all for you. Like obviously, like, you have to be there, physically present there, and you have to
Yes, for every
really
experiment, there is a cost. I mean, the everything is very costly in
got it.
tech, and you can't afford to fail an experiment. So you have to make sure. And then once the experiment starts, then you have to take care that. I mean, sometimes 24 hours you have to be there taking care of your cell lines,
Okay, but
babies.
like I mean, obviously, like with a scientific background, with a biotechnology background, is it influenced your approach to evaluate and support startup? Do you see that has influenced something in this area?
Yes, so I was doing a routine job of a business consultancy and managing a company. So, and then some 8 to 10 years back, we started investing into startups, and which also they were like first startup was Burger King, which was a very traditional work of setting up a burger chain. And but luckily it did well, and then we started investing into more and more startups. So with time, it happened, Shamila, that we started working with more startups, and then we made a fund in 2022, and we that was a sector agnostic fund. And
Yeah,
for me it was a very good chance, because then I thought that I have a chance to be back in technology, because I was getting exposed to the latest technology in all the fields, not only biotech, but I got to know what is happening in different areas and what all technologies are coming. So I would say that being from a research background, being from an innovator's background has helped me a lot, because now I understand the innovator's perspective also, because I have been an innovator for 5 to 6 years during my PhD, and I know how what an innovator thinks. Like when I'm making something, my product is great. I'm doing something exceptionally out of the world. It is something no one has done before. It's people are going to just lap it up. It's going to sell like hotcakes because it's so amazing, because I've made it with my sweat and blood and everything. So an innovator is so attached to his product because he has spent 5 to 6 years of his life into developing something new. But at the same time, business perspective is very different, Shamila,
mm,
because
yeah,
sales perspective, when you are an innovator, you don't think sometimes that how people will accept it. For you, it is your child. When it is my child, he's the best. Okay,
yeah,
but you don't know when the child goes to the world, someone say, okay, he doesn't know this, he doesn't know that. As a mother, I find it very difficult to accept it. That, okay, my child did that. My child was, he didn't behave properly. How can that be possible? So, in the same way, an innovator is so attached to his product that sometimes he fails to see the problems and the ways that he can take. And most importantly, he forgets to think in a way that it's more important to sell and make a commercial product. Making a
yeah,
product is something, but selling it is something else. It is altogether a very, very different game. You can make an outstanding product, but if you're not able to sell it to the customer and the customer is not accepting it, then your product is unfortunately of no use for an investor, and it may not get any acceptance from any investor community also, which is, I mean, when you're not able to sell, you're not able to generate the traction. And when you're not able to generate the traction, not able to convince the investor.
obviously, yeah.
So that
That's
is the part that is,
so maybe I can just I mean say like innovation is one characteristic that you have resonated a lot with startups, right? So when it comes to innovation, like obviously it has to be a like, sellable product, right? It's not only about a product is good looking well and wow it kind of product, but it has to solve someone's problem. So that's where
yes, yes, yes.
obviously like and as an entrepreneur you can really make a money. Obviously for everyone, every startup or entrepreneur, their product is like a kid only. It's like their own child,
Their
right?
own child, their own
Yes.
baby, which
Yeah.
is the best, who is the best in the world.
Yeah, obviously, like I think that's a great perspective. So I think the PhD you have done, right, you have done in whatever you have done, that is resonating and helping a lot of startups, right, with innovation, in the innovation perspective. That's a great insight, actually, Vibhuti. So now, getting into this, I just wanted to know, since you are in the startup ecosystem for some time, almost like 7 8 years now. So, India has emerged as a third large startup ecosystem globally, right? Obviously, over like 150K startups registered as per January 2025 data. So, what factors you believe it has been instrumental for this kind of a rapid growth, Vibhuti?
Yes. So India is a very interesting population mix currently, and we have a huge young and skilled workforce in India. And they have increased access to funding now because of supportive government policies, which have made startup being a startup founder an easier job than earlier. Though this being a startup founder is still very challenging, I would say. Rather than taking a cushy job in a big company, being a startup founder has its own struggles and challenges. But still, because of the support from government and access to funding, the process is easier now. And also, we have an increasing internet penetration all over the country, which has made everyone in the rural areas also, they are turning into consumers now. They are turning the customers because of the increased. So India is becoming a global village, and people from tier two cities, rural areas also, they have access to the products which the startups want to launch, and they are the aspirational population, which is leading to an increase in the customer base of India. Also, we have a growing middle class, and also the culture of entrepreneurship is flourishing in India. And the entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneurship, is now more attractive than earlier, because earlier what used to be the case that okay, he's a startup founder, he'll find very difficult to get a bride who will marry his daughter to a person who is struggling. But now it looks a little more acceptable and glamorous to be a startup founder. And so we have so many unicorns coming up, and in all over the media there are so many awareness programs and all, so people are learning and they are now interested in the startup ecosystem. That's why I would say that the Indian startup ecosystem is flourishing so much. And also, our government is promoting that we should become a job giver instead of a job seeker, and that is what is resonating with people. And having your own having your own business is anyways any days better than working for someone else. So though it is difficult, but it is worth taking the risk.
So obviously, like one thing that you have mentioned about an internet penetration, right? I think that has played a crucial role, as we are an consumer-centric nation with almost over 140 crore people, right? That's really a huge. That has made a huge difference. That have paved a way for a lot of new domains and sectors. Basically, I can say like D2C, or maybe in gig workers. I think this is something which has helped a lot, more and more entrepreneurs to come up and solve problems, as you rightly mentioned, in tier 2, tier 3 cities also, right? I think, I mean, no doubt, like we are going to be in much, much better place in the coming years. I'm sure, we are sure about it, right? So
Correct.
now on this context only, I just wanted to understand, as a women leader in venture capital, right? I mean, day in and day out, you must be facing a lot of challenges. But I wanted to understand how you are navigating them. Like, can you just give me some example, like maybe for the women out there who are watching this, they can take this as an inspiration, like obviously.
So I'm lucky that I didn't face any balance discrimination there, but a few subtle remarks here and there. And it's a fact, Shamila, all said and done. It's a fact that women have to work extra hard to prove themselves and their worth, be it any field, and they have to go a little mile extra. Otherwise, their work and their presence is not taken that seriously. So I face it, but I've always taken it in my stride, and I've also challenged if I face such discrimination that there should be a basis of saying that why sometimes when I go to some events that some people will say that okay, this women, they are just coming for uh, mm, maybe they're not so serious about their work, so it is coming to me somewhere or the other, indirectly it is coming to me. And but I since I know that I'm honest to my work, when I'm going somewhere and I'm doing full justice to my profile and my job, so I take it as a challenge also. And I don't hesitate, and I don't stay back, and I don't accept any kind of such discrimination also.
No, I mean, since you said about women have to work really, really hard comparatively, so to get their recognition, or maybe women in leadership, right? So, and also the fact is that, like, despite the growth in the startup ecosystem, as you rightly mentioned, women-led startups receive often a less funding comparatively to the male counterparts. So, what strategies, according to you, we can implement to bridge this gap? Because day in and day out you are hearing a lot of pitching from women out there, right? So you have something like you wanted to share something on this.
See, I would say that one thing which can change the destiny of women is women themselves. They have to believe in themselves. I mean, when they are pitching, they have to think that they are at par. I mean, they should consider themselves. That's the confidence. If they have that in themselves, it will reflect, and it will that confidence will also reach out to VCs. And in fact, women are more meticulous workers than men. I mean, there are people who recognize it, but still there is a bias which exists in the mindset. So there is a complete mindset which needs to be changed. And with time, it is changing, Sharmila. Now we are seeing dynamic women force also in leadership role. I'm sure the mindset change and the confidence. This is the women have to believe in themselves. Once they start believing in themselves, and people around will also take it, uh, will also understand, and they will also accept it. So the way women treat themselves, others will also treat them. So when they are thinking of anything new, they have to think that they should not accept anything which is not as per their standards. So anything, I mean, they should be ready to do whatever is required, being a male or a female. I mean, whatever is required, they should not delegate their duties to others, saying that, okay, I'm a woman, I cannot do this, so you can do this. You know, women, that mindset in the women that they should be ready to accept all kinds of role. Once they are so strong that they are ready to accept any kind of role, then that will also reflect in their behavior, and VCs will definitely take a note of it, and they will definitely treat them at par with men founders. Yeah.
Yeah, in continuation to this, Vibhuti, I just wanted to understand what key metrics and qualities that you will look into while assessing a potential investments in biotech startups, because you have a background, right, on that. So, what are the key metrics you will look into as an investor in the biotech startups? And also, I would like to know, like, since we are having this podcast for the as a Women's Day special, what you will look into a women-led startup? Is there any kind of an specific qualities that you will be looking into?
So let me answer your first question first about biotech-based startup. So since I'm coming from a biotech background, and we have worked in biological systems, and we have, my research took me 6 years to complete. So replicability in the biotech system, in the biological systems, is a challenge, because every biological system is different, every lab is different, even the chemicals. If you change chemicals a bit, even if you change the hand a bit, the results will be very different from the original result. So replicability of any kind of biological experiment, that is very important, and we have to standardize the experiments in such a way that these experiments are applicable all over the world under the standard conditions, be it in any lab condition. So if we are able to achieve that, because see, we all human beings are essentially very similar, but we have very minute differences which makes us apart. But that minute difference itself is so huge and so important that it can create the difference in the results. Like every system will behave very differently to a stimulation or to an experiment or anything. So in biotech, I think there is a huge challenge of replicability. If we are able to give results which are applicable all over the conditions, all over the working hands, and they are so standard that no matter how you do it, you are able to get results. So I think that kind of results are very much acceptable in biotech based startups. And now coming to your second questions on women. So we are gender agnostic. When we are funding a startup, we are not looking at the gender of the founders, and we are just looking at the other things, like normal things, like what is the mode, what is the entry barrier, what are the revenues, what are the margins, and how what is the vision of the founders, and also whether the founders are compatible and they are complementary to each other's skills. They have complementing skills, and if and they're coming from diverse backgrounds. So these are the things when we invest into a startup, and when whether, I mean, how dynamic they are, whether they're coming from the similar industry background and they have relevant experience. So these are the things, and I don't know, means as an angel investor, I have never looked at a startup founder from the lens of gender. So it's difficult for me to say what I look for in a women founder.
Yeah, rightly said, Vibhuti. So about the biotech space, right? The points, whatever you have mentioned, obviously, whoever is watching this, if they are from a biotech, if they are a biotech startup, obviously it can help them a lot. They can relate them and they can improvise on whatever you have mentioned. And secondly, when you say a gender biased, right? I mean, obviously, then I would have not been connected with you. So I think I believe in it, because I think most of them are not like that. Like I just wanted to ask this because still I can hear something around that. Like, so I think women founders can reach out to you very easily over LinkedIn. I believe you are active in LinkedIn, if I'm not wrong, right? They can reach out to you over LinkedIn, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay, so that's
So
great.
not
So
only women, not
yeah,
only women, I would say even male founders, whoever
yeah,
is
obviously.
doing
So
a
see,
good startup.
viewers, whoever want to reach out to Vibhuti, please reach out in LinkedIn. She is really active in LinkedIn, right? So that
Yes.
is one thing. And I mean, now I just wanted to know, you know, so in future, basically, like how do you envision the Indian startup evolution? Actually, maybe in next 5 years, it can be generic, or maybe specifically in the biotech sector, or it can be generic. Actually, let's not get into biotech. In generic, how you really see the Indian startup in next 5 years?
So it is Indian the way things are dynamic, Sharmila. I would say that it's very difficult to predict 1 year or 1.5 years back. Who could predict that AI would bring so much changes in the startup ecosystem?
True.
So actually, I don't think I am qualified to predict for 5 years. I don't think I can even predict for another 6 months or a year. But I think one area which is bound to boom is manufacturing sector in India, and the startups which are solving the problem of manufacturing sectors, because India is now being touted as the world's manufacturing hub, and there we can it is also creating a lot of job opportunities for the Indian population. Also, the Make in India concept is coming up really well in India, and India also has an advantage of being having a lot of tech savvy population, young population. So there are a few problems that can be, and our frugal technology also can solve a lot of problems. In future, I would say that the startups which are solving the basic problems of climate, water is going to be very scarce in future. So these areas I would say that would be, I'm really bullish on these areas, that problems which are going to come in near future, if the startups can look at them and if they can solve them, this is going to be really path breaking.
Okay, I think climate is some area that you are looking into, and manufacturing as well, right?
So
In
these
those
are
areas.
yes, so these two areas, but of course we are also looking at consumer brands and other things which are because consumer brands is something that everybody can resonate with. They are easy to explain, they are easy to understand.
Yeah, yeah. So, what is like one advice you have to give to an entrepreneur or an investor, maybe who is just really looking to make a mark in the industry? Because as a investor also and entrepreneur also, because you are an entrepreneur basically. Then after some years only you became an investor, right? So what is one advice you wanted to give people out there, like who are really struggling hard day in and day out to leave a mark or solve problem in a very scalable way? So what is something you wanted to say to them, Vibhuti?
So Shamila, in any kind of business, customer is the king.
True.
So you have to keep your king happy. Customer feedback, continuous customer feedback and iterations on the basis of customer feedback. You can call it design thinking or anything. So that kind of improvisation, continuous and adaptations to the feedbacks, and immediately you have to be on track and you have to see what customer wants, what the people are ready to pay for. So that understanding of market is really, really important, and how you can make your product acceptable. You have to think like what I, as a customer, I am looking at, what people around me as customers are looking at, what is the problem that they are looking to be solved. So I would say that they should have customer in their mind when they are making any product, and sales should be in the top priority. And that is how they can make their startup successful.
Sure, I think customer is obviously a king, right? We are building everything to solve their problem and make their life easier or happier or whatever it is, right?
And customer revenue is the best form of revenue. It is better than any equity-based investments or debt-based investment. So if you're getting customer revenue, you don't even need to dilute your equity or raise any debt. So that is the best revenue that you can get.
I
And that
mean,
is
hearing this from you is something like, a best thing for the people who are watching, because you are obviously you are an investor, and yes, that is true.
so
Actually,
for
like,
such, so we run after such startups now. Okay, take our money, please take our money. So they say, no, we don't want your money, but still we'll be like, okay, please take some money. please take some, and then that is so, because when they have customer validation, we know that they will definitely grow big. They might not need our money, but still, I mean, of course, having a VC money, it helps, because in addition to money, it brings a lot of strategical advice on table, and it really helps you to grow. But of course, if the customer is accepting your product, then nothing like that.
And also, they get a lot of ecosystem connect, and it helps them to scale fast, right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
also an biggest advantage being associated with an VC. So that's really and one of the biggest advantage, I would say, I would call out as. Vibhuti, I just wanted to ask you. So this is Women's Day, right? So what do you wanted to say to the women out there, and how you wanted to wish them on this day? People who are watching this today.
And so I want to wish a happy Women's Day to everybody, the men and the women, of course. If men are happy, women are happy, women are happy, men are happy. So one advice I would like to give to all the women is that it's very important to look at what you want to do, because women generally give a lot of priority to their family, to their children and others. And in that process, somehow they miss their passion, and they forget what they really want to get in the life, thinking that what they're doing is for their family's happiness. But one thing they should remember, that if they're doing something which makes them happy, so that way they can keep their family happier. I mean, for children, mother is everything. So if mother is happy, then they are also happy. And if mother is somehow, she has some frustrations that she's not able to pursue something due to some limitations, then that will reflect in her behavior, and that will also lead to unhappy children. So keeping their health on priority is very important. If they are healthy, if they are happy, then they can really bring up healthy future for the nation. They can bring up the children. They can bring up the children who are balanced, and they can be the responsible citizens of the country in future. So it's very important to balance your own wellness with the family wellness. That is what I want to suggest to all the women.
So I think women are like backbone, right? Like for the any family. So as you rightly
Yes.
mentioned, and also I wanted to end up with a very kind of a tricky or hypothetical question. I'm not sure, but I'm just in the recent times I'm hearing this. So whenever I visit my native, right? Like. I mean, I'm from a tier two city. Basically, I'm from Salem, Tamil Nadu. So whenever I visit my native, I hear from some of the people saying like, women are more empowered now once they are in job. And I think I mean it's high time like they should know their limits or boundaries. But whenever I talk with when I'm back to Bangalore and talking with the folks, industry folks, I connected with you today. No, we feel like women in leadership are very less. So this is like an it's a debatable topic on the whole together, right? So it's like I'm seeing this side and this side. Sometimes I also feel like, oh, it might be true. Okay, so sometimes I also feel like it might be true. I'm not sure. So what's your thought on this,
So
Vibhuti?
what do you think is might be true, Shamila?
So women are more empowered. Like, I mean, when they say with the examples, sometimes I think like, okay, I'm not thinking from this perspective. But once I'm back into the professional circle, I feel like, no, that's not true. Like, it's like I'm just seeing both the sides. So what's your take on this, Vibhuti?
See, I would say empowerment comes from not doing what other things is important. Like if you are at a senior position, doesn't mean that that is empowerment. Empowerment comes what you like to do, what you really want to do. If as a woman, if you are very happy just running your family and taking care of children and bringing them well and bringing them into educated as responsible citizens of the country, I think that itself is very empowering for a woman. So empowerment doesn't come that you have to leave home and go out for a job, you have to work, you have to grow in career. That is, I suppose, not empowerment, but empowerment to take decision for your family, to take finance decisions for your family, where to invest your money, whether it is your money or your husband's income. Having an equal role in the family matters, having an equal role in children's education. So that is empowering, because see, once a woman goes out for work, it is also, we should understand that in the current scenario, it is not easy. It is double taxing for a woman, because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, she has to work at home also. Because currently in our generation, I would say in my generation, the thinking is like that. Maybe in the next generation, my children's generation, yeah, in the next generation, my children's generation, I think there will be a change, and men will be equally responsible for the household work. But currently, it is double taxing for a woman to go out and work. So, though they are contributing to their family's income, but having an empowering life means that they are able to take charge of their lives and taking their own decision. That's very important. be it inside the house or be it outside. And definitely, times are changing, Sharmila. We have a finance minister is a woman, so that is so encouraging. Our president is a woman. So we have
Yeah.
decision makers on the top. At the same time, women at many levels. Women are struggling to manage their family and the work at the professional front. So it is, of course, it is a difficult task once you become a mother. Your priorities change, and that is how biology works. It is very natural. So
Priority change and our me time also reduces a lot, right?
yes.
Once you're getting into a family.
One has to understand that it is only it's a transitory period, because I have gone through that period. And so when my children were small, I think I used to spend less time for me time used to be less, but now my children are big, they are grown up, they are 19 and 21. So now they understand, and they give me time, and then they give me flexibility. I mean, they are very encouraging, and I think I found my strength in them. So once you're honest with your children and they also understand you, I think they become your strength. And then you realize that what are the benefits of raising a family and why it is important to have children and a family. So they become your backbone then. And
Yeah, very nicely crafted, I would say, rather. Thank you so much, Vibhuti, for your time today. And we have shared for me, biotech is a very, very new space. I mean, I only know few people who are from that space, and my friends are also very less in that space. And you are done a PhD in that space, so knowing about that and also how it has transitioned from your that space to an venture capital, and what are the difficulties you have gone through after getting into a family way, and how you have really managed both work and life, what you call it as a work life balance, right? I think it's really inspiring, like almost like more than 20 years you are doing this, and right now you're supporting a lot of startups. I know Manish, Amit from you have a lot of like brands like Real Time, or maybe it can be Seed Fund, like where you are a general partner. And from the startup buddy time, like I know Manish and Amit, and via them I have connected you. I think it's a very promising journey that you are going through right now, and you're supporting a lot of people in and out, and you are providing your time. So that's very, very important, because your suggestions can add a value on a lot of entrepreneurs life out there, right, as an investor, and you're supporting
I
them.
like to think so.
Huh?
I would like to think so too.
Yes, Vibhuti. There is no doubt about it. I think you're doing it, continue doing it, and empower more men and women both. And thank you for your time once again. And I wish you great things ahead, Vibhuti.
Thank you so much, Sharmila, and wish you a very happy Women's Day.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, bye bye.